When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you are in the championship rounds with King Amin of Essex and my co-host, Bodywork Boxing. Tell the people where they can find you real quick before we get right to it.
It's Bodywork Boxing on YouTube, Mr. _Bodywork Boxing on Instagram, and Bodywork Boxing 24/7 at Gmail.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
So we've been doing this thing for a good little while, and we've seen a lot of fighters. They've reached different statuses. We talked a lot about Devin Haney and his situation, but we didn't talk about the other side. A lot of people don't explore the other side, right?
Right.
So we're talking about George Kambosos. Right now, according to BoxingScene.com, he has a lawsuit pending. Both an ex-trainer and an ex-manager are suing him about 300 grand a piece, and it's just, the way it's being reported is that, there was some outstanding balances that he never paid. Remember, he supposedly got a big sum from the first fight.
Yeah.
And then he never paid these guys. And then the second time around, so I'm going to pay you. And then he, kind of floated them. So what do you think about that?
He ran off on the plug twice, you know what I'm saying? Hey, they said Kambosos ran off on the plug twice, man. You know, that's crazy, man. You get all that money and that opportunity, and you know you're gonna have a magnifying glass on you and a flashlight up your tail, and you run off on the plug twice. But in all seriousness, I be thinking about business a lot. I've had several businesses, and been involved in several businesses. And it's really a microcosm of business in today's society, because it used to be, from what I really used to hear, is that you look somebody in the eye, you give a firm handshake. When the deal is done, both parties walk away like, yes, we both won. Now it's this thing where you see each other in the eyes, you have a handshake, and then you turn around and somebody like, I really got him. I really gave it to him. You know, you hear that a lot. And I'm like, man, why do you do business like that? And that seems like it's just not in America. So, say, oh, that culture. So it's over there. So sometimes, I don't know, man. I think that it's irresponsible, man. You got to take care of your guys. You know what I'm saying? You got to take care of your team,
And as we mentioned, we said we put this one together under the heading of accountability, right?
Right.
And I guess, we already know what's out there. We're not even going to touch that, but is the boxing game so tricky that this is par for the course, if you will? Like you said, this becomes a new bottle of business where you might agree to get down with somebody and not see the money, not see the guarantee, but you still got to go out on a leap of faith. What if you get burned? What if you get put in a situation like this?
But the other thing, when I was really dissecting that, right, one of the things that I really don't see how that's really possible, because from my understanding, you rub elbows with some, you know what I'm saying, so you could pull my coattail, you know what I'm saying? You could, let me know what's up. But where I understand it is, in order for you to actually train and you proceed with a proper camp, and for you to have, a nutritionist or etiquette, I'm not sure if that's, when most businesses, when you have a fight of that magnitude and you sign, most of the time you have those things to where you say, all right, well, this, I'm gonna pay my trainer, because he ain't doing this pro bono. You know what I'm saying? Where
Sure.
if I win, he get paid. It's like, no, he got to help me get started. He got to get me up there to the start line, you know what I'm saying, so I can even get to the race. So it's kind of hard for me to believe that you don't get finances, or there will be absolutely nothing, because you need something, as a little motivation. Like, you need the account to look a little healthy. You need your people knowing, like, hey, man, you might not be frying fish tomorrow. You still got a job, you know what I'm saying,
Sure.
today in training. So, how you feel about that, King?
It's I'm glad you said that, because in a way it's kind of like it can't be disputable. There has to be fair accounting. Remember, I said accountability, it has to be fair accounting. So it really shouldn't be disputable. You suing me for money, you should be able to pull out a piece of paper and say, yo, I was paying for his nutritionist. I was paying for them pre-cooked meals. I was paying for his wife to stay in a hotel close to him for 3 days. I paid for the rental car. I paid for the cryotherapy. And this is how much it cost me. And this is how much I'm suing. It should be that cut and dry, right?
It should be.
Yeah.
It should be. I'm like, they said they did it on a handshake. It was a verbal, and he has a history of actually doing that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now, man, you really gotta cross your T's and you really gotta dot your I's. So it's looking like it's gonna go all right because he admitted it in the statement and all that. Before we, if you don't want to dig all in it, but from what I saw and read, he did acknowledge that there was a verbal agreement, so he ain't gonna get burned. But it's like, man, come on, man. Now who gonna want to work with you? You gotta stick with what you got now.
Yeah, it's like you make me take you to court, even if that's the business for it, unless we working on the foreclosure where you say, look, let it go in the foreclosure and not come get it from you in the back. Other than that, like if it's for services, we don't usually let it go to court for that because I'm gonna
Nah.
put damages and the loss of
Yeah.
labor and kind of thing. So, but again, going with this accountability theme, we're gonna move right into it. Now you got Jake Paul being sued, this time shenanigans outside of the ring. He's being sued now by the judge Glenn Feldman, along with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing, for his statements about the fight being fixed and all this stuff like that. So again, you have a situation where you have to be held accountable for your words. Even us, as we do this and we cover this sport. We try to be as educated and as astute as possible because someday somebody might hold you accountable for your words.
Yes.
What do you think about what Jake Paul has done to and for himself with this latest statement and the trouble around it?
I mean, I think you can say he may have pulled it wasn't extreme, but he might have pulled the yay. You know what I'm saying? Because in this country, they say it's freedom of speech, but freedom speech will get you whacked. You know what I'm saying? So it may not, it may be something I might be able to say, like, oh man, she robbed him. Like, because as much as I agree that, I thought Serrano, you know what I'm saying? I had her, you know what I'm saying, when I judged it, you know what I'm saying? So as much as I do that, you got to understand that when you get put up on that pedestal, especially as a social media influencer, I mean that you can influence a lot of people and they know that there is going to be an accountable for the words that you allow to escape out of your mouth. You got to be cognizant of that. You could have felt like that, but they know you got pulled, and that judge has a reputation because a lot of time when we call robbery, you know what I'm saying, we don't know, we don't have the resources to go see what happened to the judge, and if they are able to judge, you might see or hear them in passing, but who keeps up with the judges? It's hard enough to keep up with the boxers. So that judge does have a right, because they got to be able to feed their children, feed their family as well. What you think about that?
And a judge's reputation is how they make their money because somebody has to view you as impartial, no matter how impartial we understand judging to be, because it's a little known fact. Some people don't understand these judges are kind of like, they're like attorneys. Who do you like? Who do you like working with? Who's the referee? Who's the judge? So as a promoter, who's the judges you like? You know what? We're gonna get what's my man? Bird. The dude, the husband as the judge, excuse me, as the referee, Richard Bird, and you get the wife Adelaide Bird as a judge. That's it. We fly them both out for the weekend.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If we like this judge, Steve Weitzman to come in, he's looking to get a voucher for his wife to go gamble in the Catskills and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So,
all day buffets and all, you know what I'm saying, the works, you know what I'm saying, massages, everything, the whole shebang.
And so with that, do you think it's fair to chastise? I think you got to be careful because when that man go out in public, you have people say you cheated, you stole. But I mean, I guess is it fair to chastise those judges when we think the outcome is unfair publicly?
I think that we can to a certain extent, but it has to be. It can't be just because you like that fighter and they lost. It has to be like clear. A majority consensus, a lot of rumblings. Like, cause sometimes you hear a lot of rumblings, like the Catterall, that Catterall and Josh Taylor fight. I think you heard a lot of rumblings.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's why they absolutely had to run it back. And I think Josh Taylor as a man had to, but like in those kind of cases, yeah, you have a right to. And I think that's what actually got him, because I think the BBC is what it called. They got involved because they heard the backlash. So being vocal, because I say silence is consent. So we got to say something. It's just how egregious do you make it? How ugly and mean and disrespectful is it? Because it's attack. If you felt that way, documentation beats conversation all day. When you put in paperwork and petitions and names behind it, that's a little bit more effective.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of Eddie Hearn still in the news, we're hearing from Shelly Finkel, who's Deontay Wilder's manager, and this is good that we're talking about this. We didn't get a chance to pick it this last week, but Shelly Finkel is telling Eddie Hearn, hey, and this is also according to Boxing Scene, hey, you know how to reach us if they want that fight. Now I'm gonna add a caveat to this, all right?
Okay.
I just got some information that came in. Shout out to, I don't really fuck with Dan Rayfield. I'm bullshit. I'm not gonna shout him out, but I got some information that came in. Yo, that Wilder Helenius pay-per-view only did 75,000. Now, when I put in the notes, right, in the pre-pro notes, I said, do we want Wilder or Joshua or Wilder Ruiz? I mean, listen, first of all, Wilder's return, is this shaky? Are people no longer interested? Is this a bad reflection, or is it just a reflection of the opponent? 75,000 pay-per-view buys for Deontay Wilder against Robert Helenius. And you had Caleb Plant on the undercard, by the way.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Like, I got a lot of backlash, you know what I'm saying, as a consumer. And I bought and called all those fights. It was like a 10-hour live. So as a consumer, I was saying, hey, 2 minutes and 57 seconds. I was even saying the sparring part. And I was lining all these things up saying, hey, and then a lot of people, let's be honest, unless you really, really follow boxing, I ain't nobody out there at, McDonald's ran into me, it was like, hey man, that Helenius, like nobody was saying that. So, people get a little sensitive and get, a little ticked off when you kind of point out those kind of things, but this is what they call the proof in the pudding, and I don't know about those numbers because a lot of stuff be coming out and all that, but if we ran with that, that's the indication that, man, look, you want to come back this the second time, it can't just be a bunch of anybody. You know what I'm saying? I actually wanted to see the Ruiz thing. And I got something else for you. If you got something else, I got something else after you, know what I'm saying?
No. Lay it in there.
The other thing is that this is one of those perception versus reality things. When I was reading the articles, and it's like, man, people have a way of manipulating things with words and all that. But let's say the perception versus reality is everybody looking at Anthony Joshua like he should be hanging his head down low and all this. The reality is he lost 2 decision fights.
Yes.
And I don't see him going around looking for old sparring partners and all that. You know what I'm saying? His name is in conjunction and tied in with, the who's who in boxing. He's trying to keep afloat. Another thing is that was his first time under the tutelage with Mikey Garcia. This Wilder thing was the first. The reality of it is Wilder was coming off of 2 knockout losses, 2 decision losses versus 2 knockout losses. That was his second time under the tutelage of Malik Scott as his full trainer. This was AJ's first time under Mikey Garcia, and we saw some of the benefits, but he came right back so far. It's like, well, we got to go test it out. We got to go to the gun range before we go live and get hot. So who knows what's happening the second time, but I think the perception of what's going on here gets a little bit skewed based on the popularity contest. Now, the last thing is, that's a black man over there. A lot of people be saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? That's a brother, and that's a fight that we've been wanting to see them 2 brothers get it on for a while. The underlying thing, this is the common denominator. People love Eddie when it comes to certain fighters, but they discount him when it comes to other. And I'm like, is Eddie one of those lepers that can change his spots? Because when Devin was with him, he could do no harm. But now whenever he represents AJ, it's like, oh man, he's he don't want to do. It's like, okay, this the same Eddie now. So we got to throw Eddie in the mix, and you know what I always say about him. But what do you think about the perceptions versus realities, and what's going on as far as the numbers and the competition, and what's leads ahead?
Well, your perception is spot on, because even Frank Warren, again, another article, we did some research. Frank Warren thinks that both Dubois and Joe Joyce could just knock Joshua out. And, again, I'm saying he lost to Usyk. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how that qualifies him as getting knocked out all of a sudden by these, respectfully fringe heavyweights. All right. Dubois and Joyce are just now creeping into that heavyweight radius. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know why the perception against AJ is like that. To your other point, or going back to the numbers thing with Wilder, Yeah, he got to fight somebody, and that fight against Ruiz, now I get it. He needs to get his feet up under him, but the time for that ship has sailed. No more get your feet back. No more confidence boosters. You want to know why? Respectfully, yo, AJ didn't do that. AJ got
Right,
right back to Usyk. You know what I'm
right,
saying? And
right,
was looking to get back in December again,
right.
despite the meltdown, despite the perception. So, and to that point, again, these are alleged numbers, but I kind of like the source. You know, if I had to stand on it, not even on pay-per-view. This was on Sky in the UK. So this was, free television, 1.5 million views. If Deontay Wilder was on Fox, why didn't PBC on Fox put him on Fox? If they really was trying to give him that golden audience and that good shine, pause, but to put him in front of national television, you know what I'm saying? You really want to
Yeah,
bring
I
him back?
mean, hey man, hey, them suits know a little, they know a little something, but I think that man, the belief that that the product is as demanded at that rate, because you gotta think about the pricing.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And the fact that some people like myself, I buy them all. I don't stream them. You know what I'm saying? But the pricing versus who you fought. So now it's like, no, you have to have, it gotta be a Ruiz. It got to be somebody with a name. A Joe Joyce, yeah. Whether them two guys can knock him out, I mean, he had his promoting hat on extra tight, but I think, you know what I'm saying, we should see it, but it's like, man, I want to see the AJ Wilder, man. I want to see
definitely.
Ruiz and Wilder or AJ Wilder. That's really what I personally want to see.
No,
It's time.
definitely. And I'm taking that. If I had to pick, I want AJ and AJ and Wilder, man. That is on par with Bruno and Tyson. You know what I'm saying? That's on par with,
Right.
Lewis and Holyfield. It's on par with, just a good stateside UK clash. You know what I mean? We need that for boxing. Speaking of what else we need for boxing, women's boxing Wednesdays, and we got two good ones, man. I'm gonna let you get in first. Because this young lady's actually fighting. Is she fighting this weekend?
Yes.
Okay,
Chantelle
so
Cameron.
go ahead.
Yeah, Chantelle Cameron. She's a British boxer. You got me really digging in over there, man. I said, man, I got, what I'm saying, I got skinny legs in the gym when it comes to the ones over the pond. So yeah, Chantelle Cameron. They're saying she's 16-0. She's knocking out half of the people she fight, but she's really a decision fighter, but it's a dominant decision. We talked about, with all due respect, Mary McGee. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I watched that fight. The margins was like, I mean, it was clear that she won, but the margins were like blown like way out. You know what I'm saying? It was a good fight. It was a good scrap. It wasn't one that you was gonna walk away from and be like, oh, it's in the bag or nothing like that. So I really got to see her showcase her talent, and Mary is nothing to shake a stick at as well. She has the WBC, the IBF, and the Ring Magazine belt, and she's. I'm not saying she's looking ahead because I think she's fighting Carbajal. Is it Car? I think it's
Yeah.
Carbajal, and she's looking at getting down with the Cass Killer. You know what I'm saying,
Yes.
to get it on next. You know what I'm saying. So this is like, it's some pressure there. It's like, can she make a statement? I mean, she pretty much takes over fights, and then wins them handily. But I like her. You can tell that she's a gym rat. She's very polished. They said that what separated her in the fight with McGee was her straighter, sharper punches and combinations. So she's really like a technician, and she's a treat to watch. Got a very good personality. It's like, man, I could tell she probably wanted to get back in the gym the next day after that fight. So she's a treat. If you don't know who she is, Chantelle Cameron, I think she's from Northampton,
Yep.
Northampton, England, I think. So, um, trying to get better, man. Get myself acquainted. So I don't sound stupid like London, England. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's Chantelle Cameron.
Now we gonna get your passport stamp, man. You picked a good one, man. You picked a good one. And I'm gonna bring it back stateside and even closer. I'm gonna bring it to Jersey. I'm gonna talk about Shadasia Green. Who is Shadasia Green? Shadasia Green is from Paterson, New Jersey. She's in a super middleweight division. That's 168 pounds. She's 10-0 with 9 knockouts. If I had to draw a comparison, some of you guys don't know, but I got to bring up a name from yesteryear, Ann Wolfe. Just Google Ann Wolfe knockouts. If I had to draw a comparison, the only person to compare her to is Ann Wolfe. Now, Ann Wolfe was a contemporary of Layla Ali. She was the fighter that a lot of people would say, well, why didn't they get a chance to fight? They never crossed paths. Some other things happened, but Shadasia just recently, she does what fighters at her level need to do, where she's, got a WBC, I think Continental or International or Silver. She called out Clarissa Shields. She calls out Crews-Dezurn Cruz, and I believe she called out somebody else. But the call out is what we need. And I know, Clarissa's reaction to it was, who was this yelling? And I get that. But I'm gonna say something. Jay-Z and Jay-Z mentioned one time, y'all better look out for 50 Cent. He even said, I'm all about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent? Until 50 Cent came through. So I want to caution, women's boxing. Yes, maybe her approach might be brash. Maybe she might have came out on some how to rob a boxer. Maybe Shadasia's the 50 Cent of boxing. But guess what? Be very careful, because she may become that same juggernaut. So, ladies and gentlemen, and she's fighting this weekend as well on the undercard of the Jake Paul, thing. So, yeah, we got some ladies fighting this
clever weekend. Jake. Very clever, Jake. You got me, man. I love me some Shadasia now. I was ecstatic. That might have been one of the reasons why I was so ecstatic about this one video here, because man, I hear how she talk, and I don't think she overdo it.
No.
What I really think it is, it's a guy named Boots, you know what I'm saying, that I had called Sasquatch feet, you know what I'm saying? I think on the female side, because I used to call him Candyman, then I started calling him Sasquatch feet. I think Shadasia is Sasquatch feet, you know what I'm saying? I mean, her name holds weight, because whenever I hear Clarissa Shields fans talk about it, they say, well, even Clarissa Shields says she'll fight her. Like, that's not something to be said about the 3-time undisputed. Like, even she said that she'll fight her. So I'm thinking, man, I'm not saying there's a lot of ducking, but I'm like, ain't nobody just running up on her doorbell saying, you know what I'm saying, what's good, you know what I'm saying?
Listen,
I like her.
That's a great comparison, because it's certain shit people don't want to be bothered with. You know what I'm saying? And they just looking like, nah, man, I ain't even worth it. You know what I'm saying? And that subtle nuance of avoiding versus ducking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ducking, you'll go out your way and make these complications. Some shit, I ain't gonna knock a fight if they want to avoid it, because I don't see Clarissa going up to light heavyweight. She's having she had a challenging enough time at middleweight against Savannah Marshall. You know what I'm saying? And plus, I like Savannah Marshall at 168. Hell, I mean, I could imagine Savannah Marshall and Shadasia Green at 168. You know what I'm saying?
Man, Shadasia be in there giving grown men work, man.
Yeah.
It's man, I see why, man. Like, it's only a matter of time, because you can't really hold her back. Like, and when she get on top, I don't really see anybody. I went back and looked at some videos, man, after I first heard of her about a year and a half ago. And she's a problem, man. I just push for a good positive energy. You know what I'm saying? I think that she needs to just stay active, you know what I'm saying, and stay on her grind, keep being vocal. And I like the way she's vocal. I don't think it's disrespectful. So, you know what I'm saying, salute to her, and I'm definitely gonna check her out now.
And definitely. And you pointed out the Jake Paul affiliation, which again is smart. He already got Amanda Serrano. So I could foresee Amanda Serrano, Shadasia Green, on the undercards and some shit he got going on. So let's move into this weekend. I don't want to get too much into it. I'm thinking about the undercard of this, because if we talk about these women fighters being on the undercard of that fight, I think, just picking at the undercard of this fight as well. He's got Le'Veon Bell, who's coming off a win over Adrian Peterson. Again, he's actually, former pro running back. And he's in there against an MMA guy, Uriah Faber. Jamaican brethren. So, you know, I got a big up Queens brethren them. So,
Yeah.
you know, I find that fight a little interesting. Do you know anything about either of those two guys? You know, you want to talk on that a little bit, or you want to pass?
I did a video. I saw the Le'Veon Bell thing. I don't know much about Uriah, you know, and man, Jake, he's putting me in a tough position because he's very clever because now it kind of makes it acceptable, even though he's the main event, you know, because just like when I heard Teddy, you know, started liking really liking the UFC and all that, I'm like, man. So I started looking at boxing. I started saying, man, there's some UFC fighters that wouldn't even care if boxing ever stopped. You know what I'm saying? They could keep going. And I was trying to look at ways like, man, how can we preserve it? But it's almost like Jake Paul is making it to where we can't. We can't like not watch it. You know, he's getting these kind of fighters, he's maneuvering like that. You know what I'm saying? He's the big, you know what I'm saying? I want him to actually fight a boxer. I do want to see him actually fight a boxer, you know what I'm saying, at some point. But I don't know much about Uriah. I know that Le'Veon Bell looked real. I saw in training at layup before he fought AP. And that's one of my favorite running backs, second to Barry Sanders, AP is. But what he did to AP, you know, you could tell that AP wasn't really, you know, he didn't really have he didn't really have the boxing skill. He's a running back, you know, but Le'Veon Bell is diverse, and I heard he has a background actually. So there's nothing to shake a stick at.
No, and I think, you know, like we pointed to, just having a nice little undercard to put together as he builds whatever he's building. You know, salute to him, and definitely we're gonna check out that fight, and we're probably gonna talk about if something interesting happens as Le'Veon Bell is trying to build his little career. I don't want to say little career. I don't want to minimize. He's trying to stack, you know, get his headway. But you know, let's swing it back to the women real quick. We got some women that we've been talking about. One of them we mentioned in the same breath as Chantelle Cameron, that's Mary McGee. She's fighting this weekend as well, champ. And your girl, Jessica the Cobra Camara's fighting this weekend too. So we got some pretty good, and Katie Taylor fighting this weekend.
Yeah. Hey, real quick about Jay Cobra. Man, I've been watching her training. I've been commenting on her videos. Hope she don't think I'm stalking. I'm not stalking. I'm just paying attention. But I seen her doing sprints down the hill, and I comment. I was like, man, you looking like you about to try to stop somebody. I mean, she's looking real good. At least I know she in dog shape. Now, I didn't get to see the sparring and all that, but she's been training very hard. I mean, she put in a lot of sweat equity. I look forward to her, man. Like, this weekend is a sleeper fight weekend, man. This is good, man. I'm getting more and more excited now.
Yeah, man. Also, you got my girl Elle Scotney out of the UK. She's in action. One fight you pointed out that I'm, you know, really, really curious about, and I'm gonna tell you my pick straight away. I got William Zepeda against Jojo Diaz.
Okay. I don't want to do it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I can see why. You know, I like JoJo. You know what I'm saying? I like his personality and everything. But man, listen, man, Williams Zepeda, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he used to come in with a beret, man.
Yeah.
When you come in with a beret, man, when he used to come in with that beret, man, hey, you strictly business, man. And that man gets down to business. He likes to go to the body a lot. So if JoJo is, if there's any softness in the bread basket area, he's gonna find out real quick, JoJo, real quick. So I don't see. I can't argue with you about your pick. You know what I'm saying? I just hope JoJo, you know what I'm saying, retooled and, you know what I'm saying, at least give a good account of himself and then show that Olympic, you know what I'm saying, caliber that he actually has down in him.
And now JoJo's got heart. He's going to use the jab and try to keep Zepeda off of him. But again, reacting to the pressure plus combinations and counters. Zepeda's sneaky because he like to counter to the body. That's where most of his counters are. But he will go up top and try to slip a uppie in or some overhand. But his counters are mostly to the body, and he keeps the pressure, and he uses the jab to try to get on the inside. He's not just winging punches from the outside.
Yes.
So I like the way he works, man. And I just think that JoJo, nothing against him, just Zepeda is on fire. He's been in fire his last few fights, and JoJo maybe, he's going through a bit of a resurgence, but I like the fight. It's even. Would not be mad if JoJo won. I just would, I would be surprised if he did.
I don't think it's even, man. I really don't think it's even, and I think that it is sort of a curveball for JoJo coming off of Devin, because this is not he not coming in there to play with you, man. Williams Zepeda don't play, man, and that body work I always talk about. He love that body, man. He gonna put water in the basement early, so I don't know how long it's gonna last, but we gonna see if JoJo in shape and if he can bounce back. I know that for sure.
Yeah, it's funny that he's listed as the A side. In my mind, Zepeda's the A side because Zepeda's on the ascension. You know what I'm saying?
Money.
JoJo is either gonna plateau, and I don't want to say he's downhill, but the outcome of this fight will be the determining factor. I think.
It's name and money, man, because of who he fought in the resume. Because he do got Gary Russell on there, even though they're losses, Gary Russell and Devin. So it's a name, it's a name, it's a name. So that's the only reason why I really skill wise at this point, like you said, it's young, hungry. You know what I'm saying? Tenacious against JoJo trying to resurge. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how that happens, how it works out.
Yeah, you pointed out that triangulation. JoJo, good luck to you, but Zepeda, he's coming through with a buzzsaw. Also, what do we got this weekend? Yeah, we said Katie Taylor. Um, yeah, man, that's pretty much it, man. Anything else you want to cover before we get out of here?
That's who you had on the list, but one last thing, I don't know. Um, Loma and Loma.
Yes, you want to know something? An afterthought. Loma and Ortiz, because in my mind, this is a lot. It's so some people has this as a foregone conclusion, but not me. And I'm surprised and I didn't have it down because I think this is a trap fight for Loma. If Loma beats Ortiz, and I'm not saying if, like, oh my God, if, but I'm just saying if he beats him handedly and he don't look like a little bit shaky, that Haney fight's got to happen. But if there's any slippage, I think they could try to feed Loma to Shakur. That's my thoughts on how the Bob father get down. What are your thoughts about Ortiz Loma and perhaps the implications of that, fight?
I mean, I really don't. I think that Devin, if they're the mindset that they have, his folks said that they were moving up. I don't know if they changed their mind. They said they was going to revisit it. We had a lot of people talking about how he looked weight drained. You can see the darkening around the eyes. You know how you see boxers at the weigh-in, but he was able to bounce back and rehydrate. I don't really think that it's really up to Loma, because it's safe to say, man, that if Devin moved, then his legacy at 135, people are going to seal it in as what it was when he accomplished it. So he would probably have more to lose if he stayed there and left. But I do kind of see how, I mean, style wise, Ortiz is like he's pretty much power. He's a power guy. I don't really see how that gets you ready for these pure defensive boxers, and so I don't know who that fight is getting them ready for. It could only be just a little alley hoop. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up. I know it wasn't on our itinerary, but I figured since it was this weekend, I'll toss it in there.
Nah, that's why the body work is important, man. It's the punches you don't see. Those are the ones that count. Because how did we miss that one, right?
Yeah. Right,
Um,
right, right.
Yeah, man. So listen, another one in the books. Also, I just want to throw this in real quick. We also doing boxing minds on Bodyworks channel. We building that strong. We got some very interesting things coming up. So y'all be sure to check him out on his YouTube page for sure. We got that thing pizzling. We about to get crazy over there.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate you coming through on that, man. With boxing minds, I say it's boxing minds over boxing mouths. You know what I'm saying? But we highlight everybody's beautiful boxing minds. And it's always good to do shows with you, man. Like the energy, love the energy, man, and get me inspired and keep me motivated to keep pushing and doing contact. And I see you rising, man. So salute for all the progress, on the channel and the growth, man. But you can catch me at Bodywork Boxing on YouTube, Mr. Bodywork Boxing on Instagram, and Bodywork Boxing 247@gmail.com. Here at Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
When it counts in the championship rounds, my brother. Salute to you.
All right, champ.